Hello, everyone. We are here. This is our second official podcast for the Jitteryjackanape show. The first one we recorded was really good, but we had a little bit of audio issues. But this time around, I think we're going to be just fine. We've got quite a bit to talk about from the last time we did this 2 weeks ago. We had a state of play by Sony. We have a lot of Xbox news potentially. The Suicide Squad game is not off to a very good start. There's the Super Bowl, the Avatar, The Last Airbender, Netflix show. There's a lot for us to be talking about today. I see that Tyrunti is here, podcast number 2. Let's go. Yep, absolutely. So, I think we should just go ahead and get started with probably the biggest thing that I'll be talking about. And that is the state of play. The state of play happened last week, and there was quite a bit announced. I actually thought that this state of play was pretty solid. We got a lot of stuff here. We got Death Stranding 2, of course, which was probably the biggest thing. They had about a 9-minute trailer of that game. Five Churches here, and they say Sonic looks amazing. I agree, the new Sonic game does look pretty good. The first state of play of 2024, we got over 40 minutes of updates. Stellar Blade looked pretty solid. Rise of the Ronin as well. And then, of course, Death Stranding 2 and Sonic X Shadow Generations. There was quite a bit revealed. The Death Stranding trailer, like I said, 9 minutes. If you have not checked that out, I highly recommend that you do. But that's not the only thing that Kojima is working on with Sony. And that, to me, is huge. Hideo Kojima is making a new action espionage game. As a Metal Gear Solid fan, I'm very excited about this. I think that we're going to get something new and incredible. If he can't make Metal Gear, he's just going to do something new. And the reveal at the end, with them going out at the end of the studio right here, if he's doing a movie, I'm hyped for it. Columbia Pictures, Sony, they want to do something with our man Kojima, let him. Let him do whatever he wants, right? Five Church says, hopefully his health lets him make games that long. I agree. He is getting up there in age, but it seems like he's gung-ho. So as long as Kojima can keep working on stuff, I say let him. The Rise of the Ronin game was revealed. Well, more so gameplay in an overview trailer. But it looks pretty great. And it comes out here very soon, actually. March 22nd is when you'll be able to get your hands on this game. And they are remastering Until Dawn. This is actually a game I have not played. So if this happens to come out this year, this might be our horror game for October. Because it plays a lot like The Quarry, which I really enjoyed. So we would probably actually get our hands on this. I'm very excited to see that this come out. Tyrunti is saying, for never playing anything by Kojima, I love his works. Kojima is one of those guys that you can never understand his mind because he always gives you something new to ponder. And just when you think you have all the answers, he changes the questions. He's such a good storyteller because he knows how to keep you invested, and he knows how to leave little breadcrumbs along the trail, and then by the time you get to the end, everything makes sense. So a tactical espionage game by him, I think, would be great. Stellar Blade got a deep dive, and this one's also coming out soon, April 26th. We're getting some games from Sony this year. This one, I don't know a whole lot about, but I would probably play it. It looked really cool. Dragon's Dogma 2, I know that a lot of people were freaking out about this one. And then, of course, we've got Sonic X Shadow Generations announced. This, to me, is a big deal. It's been a long time since Shadow the Hedgehog has gotten his just due. And I see that subscription, Hoser. Thank you for resubscribing. We will open up some Pokemon cards later for you. We're going to keep going with the podcast. I appreciate you, bud. Let's see here. Autumn 2024. This one's going to be huge, I think. I think that Sonic Frontier was a great start for the character on like the current gen, and the idea of bringing back Shadow, really solid idea. Silent Hill actually got a new game as well, and it was available to play literally the same day. And they teased Silent Hill 2's remake. Some people aren't sure about how they feel about the Silent Hill 2 remake so far based on the trailer. Hopefully, that's just a very early trailer because it did look rough in a few spots, but a lot of people say Silent Hill is one of the best horror games ever. I would love to play it. So hopefully we get that. Now this was one that surprised me. Judas. Judas is from the creator of BioShock, and from what a lot of people are saying, this is basically BioShock 4. Yes, I'm 17 or older. Let's go ahead and play this. We're going to mute this. But let's look at some of these abilities maybe. I'm sure they'll show us some. Like look at the gameplay. It looks very much like BioShock. I played BioShock 1. I never played BioShock 2 or BioShock Infinite. That's definitely something we'll probably be doing in the future. But if you look at like all the abilities and stuff, it looks almost like the Adam and Eve system. Ew, IGN says 5 Church. IGN is just one of the better places to get our articles. I'm not really using them as my source as much as it is to just talk. And also, they just look the best, and they're not as cluttered as some other websites. V Rising is coming to PlayStation 5. I don't really know a whole lot about V Rising, but that's pretty cool. Dave the Diver. This was one that shocked me. I have not played Dave the Diver yet. I've heard it was one of, if not the best indie game of the year for 2023, depending on who you ask. But they added Godzilla. I'm a casual Godzilla fan, but I like Godzilla. I will be playing this. I have to know what they can do with Godzilla in a Dave the Diver game. I have to see that. I think that will be really fun to play. We'll definitely be trying that out. And it'll give me a reason to turn on the PlayStation and check this game out. Apart from Tekken, there's not a whole lot that I've been playing. Zenless Zone Zero seems like it is going to be the next like Genshin Impact / Honkai Star Rail kind of game. I'm seeing that it's getting a lot of attention. I don't know really anything about it, but it looked cool from what I saw. Metro Awakening, I feel, is pretty cool. If you've got a PlayStation VR, you'll probably really enjoy that. It looks like it'll be a lot of fun. Legendary Tales, also another VR game. Foam Stars trailer. I don't remember this one. Now, Helldivers 2 comes out... Oh, it's actually already out, February 8th. This looked really cool to me. I'm going to play this trailer. Here, hold on. I thought this looked pretty sick. I don't know anything about Helldivers, but the gameplay looked really fun. I would probably play this. I don't know if I can get my hands on a physical copy or if it's on the store only. But I think this looks fun. It looks almost like Destiny. So we'll see. I like the customization, the ships and everything. This looks cool. I would play this. If I could get a group for this, I would for sure try it out. So maybe that's something we here on Twitch can talk about at some point. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I think that's actually close to the end of the discussion. Yep, that's it. The state of play. That was pretty much everything revealed. I think the biggest thing is that Kojima is working on a new tactical espionage game and Silent Hill. But let's go ahead and move on. Let's see here. The Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game has been going through it. It's been struggling. A lot of people are not happy with it. The biggest thing was they had to pull the servers down right after the game launched, even for like the 3-day early access. So people have not been too keen on it. If you look here, These are the Steam charts. Let me go ahead and refresh this. This was 3 hours ago when I last looked at it. All-time peak of 13,459. That's not good for Rocksteady. I really hope that this game can turn around, because a lot of people say that the story actually is not nearly as bad as people are giving it credit for, and that some of the gameplay mechanics are fun, but when your game has so many problems at launch, you can't get in, and it's online only, you're going to turn people against it. In fact, one of the biggest things that turned people against it was this scene right here. This one was not good for them. We're going to watch this scene. Five Churches say IGN is trash for being a jerk about Kevin Conroy. What did IGN say about Kevin Conroy? I will be talking about Kevin Conroy a little bit here. This is the Batman from the Arkham trilogy and Arkham Origins, by the way. The one that you've followed since 2009. Yeah. I don't think anybody did. And they killed Batman. Obviously, the game was called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, but the Arkham Batman was a character that people cared about and were invested in for a very long time. And the fact that Kevin Conroy, this was what people thought was his last performance. I saw what Five Church put in there. They were talking about the last thing he did being a failure. Well, the internet was very upset about this, saying it was an insult to Kevin Conroy's legacy and a whole lot of other things. But here's the thing. People don't care about how bad Suicide Squad is doing. Batman Arkham Knight, more people are playing that right now, it seems. If you actually look at the comparison of the games, there are times where Arkham Knight is being played more on Steam than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And yeah, people are talking about Kevin Conroy, but he's actually not done playing Batman yet. Thankfully, this is not his final role, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, because a lot of people felt like it was disrespectful. Now, to be fair, Rocksteady had no idea Kevin Conroy was going to pass away to cancer. That's not really fair to them, and I felt that was a very unfair critique of the game. They probably wrote that story years before, and Kevin Conroy obviously signed off on it, and he was okay with recording the lines for it. If he didn't want to do it, he just wouldn't have done it. All he would have to do is say no. So, and he even said he enjoyed doing it. But let's see. Kevin Conroy's passing in 2022 left a bat-shaped void in a generation of fans' hearts as he defined Batman for 30 years. This is true. When I read Batman, in my head, I picture Kevin Conroy's voice. So, like, a lot of people thought that the Kill the Justice League game was going to be his final appearance. But actually, it's not. Conroy actually recorded 2 more roles before his passing. And one of them is Batman Caped Crusader, which is going to be coming to Prime Video. It was going to be on Max, but they shelved that, and Prime was like, hey, we'll take it off your hands. We'll make that. And the other is Batman the Animated Series Co-creator Bruce Timm said that Batman will be in DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3. And here's the actual trailer for that. But we won't have to worry about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League being Kevin Conroy's final performance in the land of Kevin Conroy fans. Like, that's not as big of an issue as people thought. Originally, I was mad. I wasn't really mad at them. I was mad that that would be his final performance. I'm really curious about the Caped Crusader series, and I'm really curious about Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3. This is Part 1, as Five Church said, but I'm glad to know that we still have a little bit more of Kevin Conroy's Batman to come. Granted, we have 30 years of him voicing the character, but to know that his last project is coming up soon will be very bittersweet. Let's see. Persona 3. I've seen that a lot of people really, really like Persona 3. But there's some issues. Some of the features from the original releases are not in the game in this new remake. Content from FES or Portable, including female protagonists. That feels like a big deal. When a remake cuts content, that seems like a problem to me. Now, some people are saying that Persona is fine. I'm not really sure. But this isn't the only game that's coming out, or is out currently, that has some of these issues. These are actually some of the files that people have found for Persona 3. And it all seems like it's going to be coming in an expansion pass later, which, for a lot of people, that just feels wrong. And I agree. If what I've read is true, Persona 3 has a lot of content that's basically just locked to the players right now, and it's essentially behind a paywall. I don't know if that's true. They might roll it out as free content later. We'll have to wait and see when it comes to Persona 3. But something you won't have to wait and see on is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. If you actually go to Sega's website, they have confirmed that Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth has New Game Plus locked behind a $15 paywall. This game is normally $70, and for you to play New Game Plus, you need to pick up the $85 Deluxe Edition at minimum. The problem with that is the Yakuza series is known for putting a lot of content behind New Game Plus. And that's just really disappointing because Sega's a very big publisher, and if they start to do it, there's a very good chance it gets snowballed to other companies starting to do this sort of thing. New Game Plus has been standard in a lot of games for a very long time, and for them to be like, well, a lot of people probably don't play it or they don't care, so we can just put it behind a paywall or early access or that sort of thing. And a good example is the early 3-day pass that you see in gaming now, where people will pay a lot of money for extra features. I don't have the images up right now, but if you all remember, if you go back to the Insomniac leaks for Marvel's Spider-Man 3, they talked about how there would be the multiplayer section, the main story section, and then all these other things that will be kind of separated into paywalls. And it feels like the industry very well could trend towards having it to where you pay for sections of the game that'll all be $60. And that feels like a big red flag for me. I see that GTA 6 will be $120 for the standard edition. Message from Five Church. That, I think, will be the game that determines whether or not we're going to see a huge upward trend for price and content released at launch, and whether or not it will be separated. I could see them charging for a multiplayer separately as well as a campaign. But we won't know for sure yet. I definitely think that GTA 6 will probably be somewhere around the $80 to $120 price point range, though. I do think that will happen. But New Game Plus is definitely a standard feature in games, so if gaming companies are feeling bold enough to start doing this, the best thing for you to do as a consumer is say no. But the problem is a lot of people really like the Yakuza series, and they're probably not going to care that much. And if you do, that's totally fine. It's your money, spend your money how you want, but if you don't support something like this, then don't buy it. That's the best way to combat something like this. The same way to combat things like paying extra money for early 3-day access is to not buy it. That's the best thing you can do if you want to combat this sort of thing. I feel like it might be a losing battle, though, because this is a very popular franchise, and Sega's a pretty well-known and well-liked publisher. I was very disappointed to see this coming from them, especially because they were trending upwards a lot last year, especially with unionization. This feels like a huge setback for the players, so we'll see if this becomes the standard or not. I'm thinking it will. I don't like being a doomer when it comes to the gaming industry, but this feels like it will become more commonplace. We'll see, though. Now this, oh man, this story is ongoing, but there was talk, literally this week, of games like Starfield, Sea of Thieves, and Indiana Jones for Xbox potentially coming to PlayStation 5. So, namely Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves on rival platforms. A lot of people thought that this might end up being the case, and that games on Xbox would only remain first party for a certain amount of time. And one of them that people were saying was maybe Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And Xbox, to its credit, has been trying to focus more on their service with Game Pass. But the response for this has been pretty negative. There have been people in the Xbox influencer world who were very upset about this. Plenty of people have been talking, and some people think that Microsoft is even considering bringing the Gears of War franchise to PlayStation. Now, will that happen? Nobody really knows. They haven't officially said anything. But there were some people out there, some pretty big names in the Xbox content creator space, that were upset. Mm-hmm. Video is not auditory. Uh-oh. You guys can't hear the videos. That's a problem. How can you all not hear the videos? Here we go. Here.
Doing this, if they're going to do this, would have been to have had a Pro or, their Xbox Series XX or whatever the hell they're going to call it, and release a more powerful piece of hardware to say, hey, yeah, you can play these games over here, but this is the most powerful place to play them. Conversely, if PlayStation launches a Pro and they're dropping their exclusives over on PlayStation, there's no reason to have an Xbox. That's
exactly.
A bit of pill to swallow.
No reason.
So as I said, I'm still processing this. I'm on my first morning coffee. But if this is true, I think it's a massive misstep. I think
he's wrong.
As a fan and a supporter of the brand for 20 years.
I'm just going to pause here real quick. You know for a fact that this guy right here has been playing Xbox since day one. And I feel that. I do. But the console wars need to die, guys. I think that the best thing for gamers is if Xbox really is pushing Game Pass, is to get out of the console market. They've bought up all these studios. They've got all these games coming out. And if they want gamers to enjoy them, get them everywhere that you can. The Xbox Series X, from what I understand, is sold at a loss. And their main source of revenue is to push Game Pass. You have to remember, Xbox is a subsidiary of Microsoft. They want you on Microsoft Windows more than they want you on Xbox. So, while I understand not wanting to get rid of Xbox, I think that in the long run, it actually would make Microsoft and Xbox more money to get out of producing consoles and to get Game Pass onto so many other gaming services and to just really be pushing those games. We are seeing that the market is changing. And I think that Xbox and the way it's ran now is the most consumer friendly to anybody. Putting games behind exclusivity just limits the players and what they can play when they want, how they want to play it. So to me, I understand because everybody's talked about this for years. Xbox versus PlayStation, Nintendo versus Sega. You know, there's been gaming console wars for years. But it feels like things might change. You never know. But there's other people. And I do agree. Five Church, I saw your message. The Xbox controller is better. I do think that I prefer the Xbox controller. I have one right here. But here's the thing about that. Just because they might get out of the console game doesn't mean that they won't make controllers for your PC. The Xbox controller can connect to your PC and you can play games that have controller support on Steam right now with it. And in fact, that's the way I play games on PC. If it has controller support and it makes more sense for me with the inputs, I typically play with a controller. So there will still be Xbox content out there. But I saw this one playing as well. People are very upset.
Different video for you, man. Oh
no.
It's coming from the heart right now.
Look at that crappy headset he has in his ear. That headset sucks, by the way. Those headsets were always garbage. The ones that would come with like the 360 bundled in, or the Xbox One, or even the Series X.
That you remember the beginning of this generation when we had a chance. We had a chance.
You still have a chance.
Oh, everything was lined up.
Oh man!
But now it looks like it's over. You gave up on us, and now it hurts.
They're making their games more accessible if the rumors are true, dude. They haven't given up.
I know you got a little life and you left. I know you got a lot of strength left.
Does he think that they're not going to put their games on Xbox?
Like you left. I know you got a lot of strength left. I should be crying, but I just can't let it go. I should be hoping, but I can't stop thinking. All the games.
Don't ever let me do something like this.
Never played. All the trash talking we could have done that we never did. And now them ponies gonna get to laugh at.
Dude. This guy is cringe, I know.
Make it go.
And there's thousands of people who felt this way. This is embarrassing. This guy's like 40. Like, you know, this guy stayed up late playing Halo. Halo 2, Halo 3, long into the morning hours. But this response, man, I understand passion, but this is a whole other level. And yes, Five Church, funny thing, no one at Xbox has said anything. And that's what we need to get to, because people freaked out for basically no reason. The Starfield PS5 leaker says he got it wrong. They said Starfield was potentially coming to PS5. That story's false. People react and just go nuts at the slightest thing sometimes, you know? Like I just showed you people sighing and talking about how they have to just get off of Twitter. You should just stay off Twitter anyway. Twitter sucks. But they're on there crying, singing to their Xbox. Like, guys, the Xbox will still be there. It's gonna be there. You can still play it. You can turn it on. I promise you, they will get games out there that aren't Redfall and Starfield. There are good games coming. But, like, calm down. Like, people were so worried about this, and the report was accurate. Or inaccurate, sorry. Like, we've got Pal World on Xbox Game Pass. Exactly. There's so many good games on Game Pass. And if Microsoft gets what they're going after and getting Game Pass on every console, they won't need the Xbox. They'll have Microsoft Windows. And if you want to play a console that bad, they're going to have the PlayStation. They're going to have the Switch. Yes, I know, critically acclaimed Redfall, right? Nobody plays it, but there are games on Game Pass that are worth playing, and there are games that Xbox has coming down the line. Speaking of Xbox, there is a Future of Xbox event next week that's coming. I feel like Phil Spencer is just banging his head against the wall, having to deal with the people's response online to leaks and rumors that people can just make up. Like, there's going to be a huge business update. Phil Spencer tweeted out, "We're listening and we hear you. We've been planning a business update for next week where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox." I don't think they're even leaving the console market. I think people just got scared. There's actually been rumors that Xbox might even get into the handheld market. We don't know that for sure, but how about you wait until Xbox says something before you start acting like you gotta just throw your Xbox away and you're just switching to PlayStation because you're so disappointed in them. They're gonna take care of you. I do think Xbox is the most consumer-friendly gaming market out there right now. They are. Game Pass is a phenomenal service, and if you don't have it, I recommend that you do. And you play games on your PC or your laptop or your Xbox. But man, people were freaking out. But that's not the only Xbox news I want to talk about. Halo. The Halo show has dropped on Paramount Plus. And before we talk about Season 2, we got to talk about Season 1. Season 1, for a lot of people, was pretty disappointing. But if you go back and you look at this score here, it seems like people are really enjoying Season 2. Now, I myself watched the first episode literally today before recording this podcast, and I gotta say, it was pretty good. If I had to rank that episode out of 10, I would say that was probably an 8 out of 10 episode. The first 15 minutes, though, were a solid 9 out of 10. The action in that episode was phenomenal, and if you have Paramount Plus and you are a Halo fan, I strongly encourage you to give Halo Paramount another shot. The only thing about it that makes it less than a 10 for me, and I'm a huge Halo fan, is that it was too foggy. So it was really hard to see some of the characters, but I think, I haven't seen episode 2 yet, but I think this season is setting up a lot of advancement for the Covenant in terms of their technology. Those of you who've played Halo know that there's a power-up called Active Camo. I think that's their way of showing it off. It was pretty interesting. It still boggles my mind how Master Chief will take off his helmet and we see his face all the time. But the more I watch, the more I've kind of gotten used to it. But I think that the jump in critic and audience score means that I feel people should give this a chance. It feels as if the people working on this show saw the response to the first season, which even I didn't like. I thought the first season was not good. And they said, okay, we hear you, and we're going to make some changes. And so far, with the first episode, I've been pretty happy. I hope that the rest of the season is pretty good, but it seems like it's going to be every Wednesday or Thursday they're going to be dropping new episodes. The first 2 episodes are already out on Paramount. I'll probably watch the second episode tonight before I go to sleep. And maybe next time we record our next podcast, we will talk about it. Okay. So, but speaking of television, I want to talk a little bit about the Avatar: The Last Airbender series. Avatar: The Last Airbender is supposed to come out February 22nd of this year. And it feels like things are not going so well. Now, obviously, the show isn't out yet, so I could be completely wrong. But the first red flag for me was all the way back in 2020 when the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender left the project. Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko said in separate statements on Wednesday that they came to believe their creative vision for the show wasn't being supported when Netflix ordered this show in 2018. It's been 6 years since they ordered that show. So this is a big deal. People are worried that it's not going to honor the vision of the creators, and Avatar is so beloved that the response to some of these updates that have been coming out recently haven't been so good. It sounds like a mixed bag. People are saying there's controversy regarding Aang's character. Sokka's another character people are concerned with. So we've got some of these articles for you. Premiering later in the month, Netflix has gradually started to pull back the curtain on its adaptation of the 2005 cartoon. The show was never going to be made complete one-to-one to the original, obviously. But it feels like there's some tweets to the show, like tampering down to Sokka's sexist behavior. And they don't really get why some of these things existed in the source to begin with. I agree. There are some changes that I think are good, actually. I think getting Ozai and Azula into the show in the first season, I think that's super important. And I feel like we're going to get a lot more about the conflict with Zuko, specifically the duel with his father, with how he gets scarred on his face. I think that's a big deal. I think that they know that Zuko is probably going to be a lot of people's favorite character, so the more we can get about his story early, the better. But some of the things about the show and the culture in the show, specifically like the Water Tribe and sexism, is being changed either completely or being toned down. And it feels like that's wrong, because a big part of Sokka's character is him getting over his sexist attitude, or when Katara fights the waterbending master at the Northern Water Tribe. So it feels like they're missing the point with some of the characterization, and changing that to suit a more modern audience feels wrong, because the moment where Sokka realizes he's wrong and he talks to the Kyoshi warriors and he's like, I was wrong to assume that you all weren't strong warriors. Will you teach me? And he grows from that moment, and from that point on, he values and respects the women in Team Avatar, especially his sister and Toph. It feels wrong. I don't like changes for the sake of change when it doesn't enhance the story. I feel like when you're taking something like that away, especially characterization for Sokka, who is not necessarily an antagonist but a foil to Katara in the first few episodes of season 1, it feels like you're taking away a huge part of his character, especially because by the end of that season you see the way he treats Princess Yue. I don't know. They're also changing things to where it appeals to Game of Thrones. I don't know how you're going to appeal to Game of Thrones with a kids show, or Game of Thrones fans, but like, it's a remix, not a cover. And people don't know how to feel about that. And if you've watched Game of Thrones, then you know that things like sexism, blood, guts, nudity, that's all in there. You know, like slavery even. You know, like Game of Thrones covers a lot of dark stuff. I see that Black Lightning said something. Let's read what he said. If they're taking that away, then they'll need to replace it with something, and that is the part that worries everyone. Exactly. I completely agree. What are you going to put in there to substitute the change? That's what people are concerned about. When it comes to hitting the tone, I mean, we have the script, and then we're on set, and it's like, let's do this version, and then, okay, let's do sillier. Let's go even sillier. Okay, now let's pull it back. So, a lot of people are worried. And I kind of agree, because even more stuff came out. They're going to change a lot of Aang's character as well. Avatar: The Last Airbender will be going through a few changes for its new live-action series adaptation with Netflix, and one change to Aang has sparked debate among many fans of the original animated series. The major task of adapting the classic animated series into its new 8-episode format, and that means a lot of the material from the first season of that original series is likely not going to make it into this version. That's even more necessary than noting any particular new material that can make it into this upcoming adaptation, similar to what Black Lightning just said. Fans have been curious about what to expect from Netflix's live-action series adaptation, and the showrunner and executive producer Albert Kim has sparked another debate among fans for a revealing change they're making to Aang's journey, explaining that to make their serialized drama version of events, they needed to direct Aang more towards his goals, rather than having him try to explore other detours or adventures. So basically, it sounds like they're going to stay on mission, and Aang won't be as childlike and won't be as curious about the world, which feels incredibly wrong to me. Literally, the first line Aang has in the series is, "Will you go penguin sledding with me?" People have to remember, this is a children's show, and it has the child at heart nature to it. So some things should not change. We decided to make Aang's narrative drive a little clearer. In the first season of the animated series, he's kind of going from place to place looking for adventures. First, we've got to go and ride the elephant koi. It's a little looser as befits a cartoon. Now, I don't think this is a good change. I really don't. But I don't know if I have this here, but they have made it to where the comet, Sozin's comet, will actually be addressed later in the series, because they want to push that back as far as possible so that they can keep the same cast throughout the show, because obviously these kids are going to age, which I actually think that's a change that makes sense. I think delaying Sozin's comet probably until Book 3 Fire makes the most sense. Make the comet and the eclipse the main focus of that. Just so that way, when we get to that time clock, it doesn't look like Aang has aged up so much. Or they could just say the comet's coming in so much time that it's a lot further away. Because obviously the kids will be a lot older by the time they get to that point in the show, if this continues. But a lot of people feel like they're not respecting this source as much as they respected One Piece. Netflix's live-action One Piece was a resounding success, with critics and viewers alike heaping praise upon the series. It racked up hundreds of millions of streaming hours, and people are already awaiting Season 2. And that's actually true. If you look here, you can see in hours viewed, 140 million hours viewed of One Piece Netflix. Huge success. I believe they said that this was the most watched show of a like Netflix original series. So the standard of quality is right here, right? People want Avatar to be on this level. And a lot of people are worried, will it be good? Like, people are worried. Like, we aren't sure. And I personally love Avatar. I watched Avatar for the first time as a senior in high school. It was a few years after the show ended, and I fell in love with it. I've watched through Avatar: The Last Airbender 7 times. It is, in my opinion, probably the greatest cartoon show for a child audience that has come out of the United States. A lot of people are very passionate about this. When M. Night Shyamalan made the 2010 film, people were devastated at how bad that was. So fans are worried about this. Again, it comes out February 22nd. I want to be blown away, but I'm preparing for it to just be very middle of the road. We'll see. But as it stands right now, the fan base is very concerned. And similar to the Xbox situation we just talked about, we gotta wait and see. But I feel like I'm with them. I'm more worried than I am hopeful. But we're going to move on because we've got a few last things to talk about before we switch over to our state of the stream. This happened like on Thursday or Friday. I can't remember the exact day. February 7th. Okay, it was Wednesday. Disney has bought a $1.5 billion stake in Epic Games to create an expansive universe within Fortnite. And this will contain characters from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Avatar, and more. This is a huge deal. This is about 10% of Epic, from what I understand. And they want to integrate their characters with Fortnite. I wouldn't be shocked if we got some sort of Disney Battle Royale. You could say that deal is epic. 5 shirts, I see what you did there. This is probably going to completely change the way we look at Fortnite. Fortnite got some huge updates earlier this year. There's now a Lego Minecraft mode. They basically have Rock Band in Fortnite now. Rocket League has seen some updates. And now it seems like Disney is throwing their hat into the ring. They see what Epic is doing and they want a piece of that pie. What I really like about this is that a company like Star Wars is going to get involved. Star Wars for a long time was held exclusively with EA ever since Disney bought that brand back in like 2014. So this is a big deal. We don't really know what this means, but it is, of course, the biggest entry ever into the world of games for Disney. Disney has made games in the past before, especially on like the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Everybody remembers Aladdin and Lion King. They actually released those a couple years ago on modern consoles. But they want to get really into the gaming scene, and there's a lot that they could do with all of these characters. We could see maybe even some sort of new take on like Kingdom Hearts. Who knows? Right now it's all pure speculation, but when you throw in $1.5 billion at Epic Games, that's a huge statement. They're saying that they're going to come out swinging. We need to follow this one, guys, because that's a huge deal. Epic Games and Disney partnering up. From what I understand, it's about a 10% stake in in the company. This is going to be a huge partnership. Speaking of partnerships, Crunchyroll and Funimation. This one, not so good. At least for some people. Funimation and Crunchyroll, two competing anime streaming services, merged in 2021 and announced in 2022 that all of their content would eventually combine under the Crunchyroll banner. The event officially has a date, and it's April 2nd. Funimation subscribers will have to go through the process of merging their account before that date. And frustratingly, any shows that were outright purchased through Funimation will not transfer to Crunchyroll. Just another reminder that when you purchase digital content, true ownership does not technically exist, and you will always be at the mercy of the platform holders when it comes to access. The price raising is substantial, actually. Crunchyroll subscribers don't need to make any changes, but the price of the subscription will rise to $100 a year. It used to be about $55 a year. This is a big change. A lot of people are very unhappy. It seems like they're also going to be entering the video game space as a publisher, but nobody really knows what that means. The big thing for me here, though, the price increase, that sucks. I'm not okay with that. But let's read this again. This part right here. Frustratingly, any shows that were outright purchased through Funimation will not transfer to Crunchyroll. Just another reminder that when you purchase digital content, true ownership does not technically exist, and you will always be at the mercy of the platform holders when it comes to access. Essentially, you will own nothing, and you will be happy. The problem with this is that there's no protection for the consumer, and we're rapidly approaching a digital age. Everything is going to subscriptions. It's one thing to not own a video game on Game Pass and then they take it off the store. Whatever. But if I bought a game on the Xbox or the PlayStation Store and it was just gone and I couldn't play it anymore, I can't do anything about it. It's gone. If you bought, say, all of Dragon Ball Z on Funimation digitally, you can't watch it that way anymore. Now, granted, that will be on Crunchyroll, but it's the fact that you paid your hard-earned money for this. And it's not like they're... I highly doubt it. They're not just going to roll out and say, okay, hey, you bought all this, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you a rebate or a credit of some sort. They're not going to do that. That's just not going to happen. They would lose billions of dollars if they did that. So I think the best thing for them to do in this case is to allow you to download anything that you purchased, and after that, it's on you to keep it. But this is not the first company to do this. We know that Ubisoft recently said that people have to be comfortable not owning their games anymore. And the issue with everything going digital is the internet service really isn't there yet for everybody. Not everybody can afford the best internet available. I feel like it's going to boil over, and a lot of people are just going to say no. Because they can't... Some people can't afford to stream all of this stuff, or they can't afford to buy all these subscriptions. I do think that physical media will have a huge revolution if stuff like this keeps happening. I do. At least until the lawmakers get in there and say, hey, if you're going to merge or you're going to pull content, you have to give the consumer, if they've purchased it, the opportunity to protect it, because... Or you need to change the language saying that you're buying a license, not the actual content. Because, I'll give you an example. I own this. I own Dark Souls Remastered. I can play this whenever I want. They can remove it from the store at any point, And if I deleted it off of my system, you're telling me I can't play it? I don't support that. Any company that does that is scummy. I hope that they get this situated for the consumers. I don't think they will. But we need digital protection. That has to be a thing that needs to be established, I think. But it's nice to have everything in one place, but for the people who spent money on a lot of stuff online, this sucks. It just does. There's no other way really to say it. We're making changes to go towards things being easier to access for the consumer, but easy access means less ownership. And when you own nothing and you're still paying, what are you really buying? I would say if you have physical media, hold on to it as long as you can. But yeah, we're heading towards a digital age, and stuff like this continuing to happen. It's only a matter of time until it happens to a way bigger market than, say, anime, where people have to say, all right, wait, hold on, we got to come in here and fix this because the laws and the copyright and consumer rights are being challenged with everything being digital because you can't do anything about it. It's not like Toei Animation is going to come in and take my Dragon Ball Blu-rays, but they could take Dragon Ball off of the platform at any time and then you can't watch it. So something to consider. Physical media, internet services in general, we're not there yet, I don't think. And companies are moving too quickly for what I would consider the average consumer. But that is all I've really got for this second podcast for you guys. I don't want to end it on a bad note, but this is what's happening. We got a lot of cool gaming stuff coming up. Next week, we might see some stuff from Xbox. There's also rumors of a Nintendo Direct potentially coming. We know it's February, so next time that we might be talking about Pokemon, because this is Pokemon month, and Pokemon Day is the 28th of February. Who knows? But for now, that's all I've got for you for the Jitteryjackanape Podcast Episode 2. And we are out.